What is up, guys? It is Friday, so it was Zone 2 run day. I just lowered my heart rate, so it was a little bit more challenging to stay in Zone 2, getting a little bit slower. On the back end of my 5-mile climb, or 5-mile run, there is pretty significant, not really significant, but pretty consistent uphills, which then makes it a little bit more challenging to control my heart rate. So this goes back to that idea of like, how consistently can I keep it in Zone 2, or how much control can I exhibit relative to my pace in order to keep me where I want to be on those runs, instead of really challenging myself in the sense of trying to run faster, right? I'm putting in a lot of foundational work in that Zone 2 heart rate zone, and that's where I want to be for a lot of my slow runs or a lot of my easy runs, so that way I'm stressing my body in a very particular way. There's a lot of science that goes into that I can't really quote or understand. I just know it's good for you, and it's been working for me. So really only about once a week, and even just a portion of that is really where I'm pushing myself a little bit harder. I'm gonna ramp that up with some hill sprints. Probably, I think about 2 more Wednesdays, so 2 more hard runs at just the tempo runs, and then I'll probably bounce back and forth between a tempo run and a little bit more hill sprint run, and see just what that does for a while. Because right now I'm kind of just holding steady from a fitness standpoint, at least according to Garmin, which has just been one measurement tool that I've been using. And I don't want to just stay in the same place forever. So I think hill sprints will challenge my body in multiple ways, challenge my cardiovascular system, and challenge my muscular structure and everything of that. So I think there'll be some pretty significant adaptations that might help me move to the next tier of speed, in a sense, in running, right? I've made some significant improvements from where I started from my fitness standpoint. Alongside the weight that I'm dropping right now and the cut that I'm on, I really achieved the initial target that I would say, but I think that I have a tier 2 target that I really want to work on over the next probably 4 to 6 weeks, and we'll see how that goes. I've been feeling a little bit on the weaker side when it comes to climbing, and that has been bugging me a little bit, but I want to see if I could push through that and see exactly what I can still accomplish, even though I'm on a cut. And then on the back side of that, as I start to refeed and start to up my calories again, I think I'll be in a good place. To be fair, I think that my calories are probably a little on the low side on average, just because my appetite's been pretty low. On the other side of things, today I was having a conversation with a friend talking about driving self-improvement and constantly trying to get better and constantly striving to be the best version of myself, and how that could potentially lead to really not thinking that you're enough in your current state, right? If you're constantly measuring yourself against this best version of yourself down the road in the future, it's just better than you are today. And really, I counter that. It's not, there's a measurement there between who you are today and who you want to be, and the gaps there that you want to close, or that I want to close, I guess I would say it that way. From the ideal version of me as I can see it today, or who I want to be as I can see it today, and what I lack in that. And so I take actions against that to try to close those gaps all the time. The more important thing, equally important to measure against who you want to be, is to measure who you were, right? And the progress that you've made in a week or 2 weeks, and in months, in last year. And understand in the realms that you want to improve in, whether it be, physically, mentally, emotionally, all of these areas that you might try to improve in, I try to improve in, that you have improved versus your former self. What have you learned? What have you applied? And in a sense, understanding if you're stuck somewhere. And if you're stuck somewhere, what are you going to do about it? Because I think that the conversation kind of originated discussing therapy and that role and what it could play, and why I've never pursued it yet. And it's because I don't think that I've been, for a while, I've been stuck before, but I think that that was mostly due to inaction, and mostly due to not allowing myself to truthfully feel and understand where I am, and doing a really piss poor job of self-analysis and making sure my self-awareness was where it needed to be, and that I was taking actions on those things that I was unhappy about. So nowadays, that's not really a problem. There's no limitation that I have there. And any gap that I have, I'm working on and I don't feel stuck in. And when I measure myself against my past self, I've improved. So if I get stalled out and I have difficulty making progress again, I will have to ask myself, what actions can I take? What help might I need? What information am I missing? All of these aspects that might be missing pieces towards my self-improvement and on my self-improvement journey. So it's something to consider, is that don't demean yourself because you're not who you want to be yet. Recognize that who you are today might not be who you were, provided you've started the journey. And if you haven't, then start the journey. In a couple months, look back. Look forward and back to recognize the growth and the journey that you're on. It is important to take time for recognition. In my professional life, I think that's been a significant struggle for me. In my personal self-improvement journeys, that's been a little bit better. I am one of those folks that doesn't really necessarily take a lot of achievement in the completion of any task, yet in my self-development journey, I can take some time and really appreciate the growth that I've had, because I think it creates a different life. Like, I am a much happier person than I've ever been before. I think that has to do a little bit with more sun and less winter in the South here, but also just in how I approach life and what I do with my life and how I approach the problems in them. And instead of avoiding them, I try to attack them face on. And I go into the hard conversations and I try to have them. And I really try to talk through things and set boundaries and just be the best version of me. And the best version of me will always evolve. Like, I'll never get there, right? But hopefully along that journey, I'll be much better than I've ever been. So that's what I got for tonight. Enjoy your Friday night and be safe.